All right, let's talk about the future of AI, but not just in some abstract sense. We're going to get inside the head of the guy who's literally building it, OpenAI's Sam Altman. We're going to look at his roadmap, starting with the next big thing, GPT-5, and go all the way to his ultimate goal, superintelligence. So let's jump right in.
So Sam Altman said this, and you just kind of have to pause and let it sink in. A kid born today will never be smarter than AI. This really sets the stage for everything. We're not just talking about better software anymore. We're talking about a world where the very definition of intelligence is being rewritten, not by us, but by the machines we've built.
So if this is the new reality, what does the future that Sam Altman is aiming for actually look like? What's the end game here? That's what we're going to figure out. We're going to piece together his vision, starting with the tools that are right around the corner, and then looking at the massive breakthroughs that are on the horizon.
Okay, let's start with the here and now. Altman recently said that GPT-4 was the dumbest model any of us will ever have to use again. Now think about that for a second. This is a model that can pass the bar exam, it can pass medical licensing tests, and he's calling it dumb? That's a pretty wild claim. So what on earth makes GPT-5 so much better?
Well, this is the fundamental difference. It's a huge leap. You see, GPT-4 was like the world's greatest librarian. You could ask it anything, and it would find and synthesize the answer for you. GPT-5? That's more like an engineer in a box. It's not here to answer your questions. It's here to build your ideas. To really bring this home, Sam tells this great story. He was feeling nostalgic and asked an early build of GPT-5 to make the old snake game from his TI-83 calculator. And get this, it built a perfect version in about 7 seconds. But here's the crazy part. He could then just keep talking to it, adding new features, changing how it looked, all in real time. That's not just coding. That is literally creating at the speed of thought. And it's not just about these big, flashy new abilities. There's something else, something a little more subtle. People at OpenAI who are using GPT-5 say that when they have to go back to GPT-4, it just feels terrible. You know, like when you use a brand new phone and then have to pick up your old one. A huge reason for that is the quality of the writing. It just sounds more human, less like a robot. It's a small thing that makes a massive difference. So when you have a tool that can just create software whenever you ask, that doesn't just change how you do your job. It changes the entire world we live and work in. Society is now in a feedback loop with this technology, and it's going to have some pretty massive effects on everything from our careers to how we see reality itself. You know, you hear so much anxiety right now. AI is coming for our jobs, but Sam Altman sees the complete opposite. He says that if he were 22 years old today, he'd feel like the luckiest person in history. And why? Because for the first time ever, the only thing standing between an idea and making it real is, well, nothing. The barriers are just gone. And here's what that really means. A tool like GPT-5 gives one person the kind of leverage that used to require a whole army of people. Altman's serious when he says we're going to see a one-person billion-dollar company. All it will take is one person with a great idea and a powerful AI partner to execute it. The scale of what a single individual can accomplish is just exploding. Of course, all this creative power has a really interesting side effect. You might have seen that video of bunnies on a trampoline that went viral. Turns out it was 100% AI generated. By 2030, stuff like that is going to be everywhere. So how do we know it's real? Well, Altman thinks our idea of real is just going to shift. It's kind of like how we all just accept that our iPhone photos are heavily processed. We'll just adapt. So, everything we've talked about so far, creating software, blurring reality, that's just the warm-up act. Now we get to the main event, the whole reason OpenAI even exists, the mission to create superintelligence. You know, this used to sound like pure science fiction, but as Altman puts it, you can actually start to see it through the fog now. So how do we even track our progress towards something so huge? Well, Patrick Collison, the CEO of Stripe, asked Altman a really smart question. When will an AI like GPT actually make a major scientific discovery? And we're not talking about just repeating facts from a textbook. We're talking about discovering brand new knowledge that no human knew before. And Altman's answer is pretty stunning. He thinks it's possible it could happen as soon as 2025. And he bets that by the end of 2027, it won't even be a debate anymore. Most of us will just agree that, yep, AI is now making scientific discoveries. We are right on the edge of AI going from a student of science to a colleague. And this is what leads to that final destination, superintelligence. Forget an AI that's good at chess or something. We're talking about a system that is smarter than humanity at pretty much everything. But what does that really mean?
Altman has a very practical and honestly kind of chilling definition. For him, superintelligence is a system that could do his job as CEO better than he can, and could do AI research better than his entire team combined. That's the finish line. But getting there is not going to be easy. He points to 4 massive roadblocks. First, compute. The sheer amount of computer power they need requires the biggest infrastructure project in human history, and right now, we don't have enough energy for it. Second, data. They've basically fed the models the entire internet. Now the AIs have to learn to discover things for themselves. Third, algorithms. They still need new breakthroughs in how these things think and reason. And finally, product. They have to figure out how to get all this insane progress into our hands in a way that's actually useful. Okay, so we've spent all this time talking about what the builders at OpenAI are doing, but that is only half of the story. Because the future of AI isn't just going to be defined by what they invent, but by what the rest of us decide to do with it. Altman has this perfect analogy for this. Think about the transistor. A few brilliant scientists invented it, but they had no idea what it would lead to. Then a company like Apple came along and used transistors to build a platform, the iPhone. And then millions of other people built things like TikTok on top of that platform, completely changing culture in ways no one could have predicted. The original inventors could never have imagined TikTok. And that's exactly the point. And that is exactly what's happening right now with AI. OpenAI, they're building the transistor. They're laying down that foundational tech. So the ask from them to all of us, to entrepreneurs, to artists, to scientists, is simple. They're saying, here, we built this incredibly powerful new thing. Now, what are you going to build with it? And that's really where this whole thing leaves us. This isn't just another product cycle or a new app. This is a new foundation for society being poured, right now, as we speak. The real story isn't just about the people mixing the concrete. It's about what we all decide to build on top of it. The foundation is being laid. So the question for you, for me, for all of us is, what are we going to build?